Hi, and welcome to Real Trail Talk. I'm Donovan D'Souza from The Long Ways Better.
And I'm Mark Pybus from The Life of Pi. Welcome to episode 84. We have a bit of fun for everyone listening. It is the WA Hiking Draft podcast, which is an idea that I've stolen off a podcast I listen to a lot called The Big Picture. And joining us in the fun, we have Steve Sertis from the Billman Track Foundation. Welcome, Steve.
Howdy.
And long-time podcast contributor, Bonny. Welcome, Bonny.
Hello.
So we were all last together for the Dream Billman duo podcast that we'd done. So as Steve pointed out before we started, that was all pre-COVID days, so a very long time ago. And we thought we'd get people in to help because there's normally 3 people doing the hiking or the big picture movie draft, but it's always fun with more people. So the premise of the hiking draft is I've adapted it from the big picture movie draft in that they select movies for a particular calendar year in certain categories and they try and draft the best lineup. So for us to do this for hiking, we have the regional tourism areas of WA, and then we also have the bib track divided up into 7 to 9 day sections, town to town or town to campsite sections of the Cape to Cape, and a Stirling Range day hike option as the category. So I'll list those in the podcast description for everyone to play along at home, and we encourage everyone to vote via the social media channels. There'll be lots of polls and comments open so you can decide who the winner is. And what we're trying to go for here is 1 trail per category, and we're all trying to pick the best lineup we can.
So you'll punch me if I pick Channel 10 Tower Walk?
Yes. I can't reach you, but I'll maybe throw my wine at you.
Please don't.
Alright, and it's a snake order draft, so whoever picks first then picks last in the second round. So you'll get the hang of it as we go through it. And on that note, I'll get Steve to reach into the, not pencil case, but microphone case to grab the Scrabble tiles to select the order.
Drum roll, please. And it is S.
S.
Was that rigged?
No. S for Steve, so Steve is first. Pick again.
M.
M, so Mark, excellent. We've got the second pick. Picking third is
D.
Donovan, and by default, Bronwyn is last, which means she'll also pick 5th.
Do we check if there was another tile in the case?
No.
We did see the letters. We saw what they spelled out.
You got the first pick, Steve. That's all that matters.
Indeed.
All right, without any further ado, Steve, you're up on the clock.
Right, well, I'm going to go for the category with the fewest amount of walks in it, and that's the Stirling Range. And really, I've only got a choice between the 2 there because I've only ever done 2 of the walks, and one was so long ago, I don't remember it. So guess what? I'm going to go for Bluff Knoll, simply because I've walked it twice this year, but also because it is an iconic walk. And for me, it was particularly iconic this year because I walked up in a snow event, so which wasn't planned. We were already planning to go there, and we thought we'd actually completely missed it. And the skies cleared until we got about halfway up and it started snowing. So that was pretty cool. But, you know, it's also just an amazing section of the part of the world there, you know, highest kind of peak in the area. And the views are astounding, but also I love the way that it's just that bit more challenging than most of the other kind of paved walks, if you kind of get my drift. So it's still good. You still get kids going up it. You still get all sorts of people, but it's just, you know, just that bit more challenging. And I just find it so diverse, not just because of the area it's in, but also because of the weather.
Indeed. Donovan was saying this would be the people's favourite. Whoever got Bluff Knoll would win. So you're off to a good start. All right. So moving on to me, I am going to also go a category that doesn't have too many in it. And I'm going to go the Cape to Cape section. And I'm going to go Yelling Up to Moses Rock. So this was a day that I just found incredibly diverse. So leaving Yallingup, you've got the area around Yallingup. I didn't do the Smiths Beach section because it was winter or spring. But then after that, you get the massive granite areas by the beach. You get Injun Day Spa, you get Canal Rocks, and then after that, Quinnanup Falls. And then leading into Moses Rock is just the most amazing wildflowers. So I'd pick that day out of any for the Cape to Cape. Donovan, you're up.
Yep. Okay, so I'm going to also go with a small category one, and I'm going to pick the true king of the Stirling Range, and that is Toolburnup.
Nice.
I think, so the comparison I'll make, Bluff Knoll is like walking up a flight of stairs on a multi-story building, while Toolburnup is an adventure. It's got so much excitement to it. You've got the 2 boulder fields, there's scrambling, there's the spectacular views, just like you get on Bluff Knoll, but you also get the journey. The journey is great.
And you're not concerned that it's all burnt now?
I am concerned, but the thing is, rocks are forever, Mark. They're forever. Well, you know,
okay.
they're more permanent than trees.
They'll grind down to sand eventually.
They're pretty tough. They're metamorphic rocks. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Bonnie, you have 2 picks in a row now.
Wow, okay. I will pick Coral Coast as a category. And because this is a hike I really enjoyed that I did quite recently, is the Temple Gorge Walk in Kennedy Range National Park. And it's quite a short walk, but it's got just really amazing gorge scenery with red rock cliffs, and when I was there in August it was just full of wildflowers. It felt like a country garden but outback style, and you could even go for a little swim at the end of one of the gorges as well. So just a really short walk but beautiful.
Yeah.
And you could easily combine it with the walk up to the top of the escarpment, can't remember what it's called, and the Draper's Gorge Walk as well for a longer one.
Yeah. Because that was one thing when I was compiling the list for the podcast, is just how many hikes there are in Kennedy Range. So I think I might
They're
have
all
to take a
really,
trip.
really good, but
Yeah.
you could do all of them as one if you wanted a longer walk.
Mm.
All right. And your second pick for this...
Does it have to be the
Section?
same category or a different category?
So you're only allowed 1 hike per category, so you have to
Oh,
pick
okay.
another category.
I'll go with Southwest, and I'm going to choose Nancy Peak and Devil's Slide.
Ooh.
It's very, very hard to choose a favourite walk in the Southwest. I don't think I actually have one because there's a lot that I like. But that one in particular, it's just really special because it's not the longest walk ever, but it really feels like you're getting away from civilization, and you're up high on the ridge with I love granite outcrops and Carry Forest, and if you're lucky you end up in the clouds, lots of moss.
Yeah. I think the trip up Devil's Slide really makes that hike because it is tough.
Yes.
And the views at the top
And
are
good, really good
fantastic.
views too.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I believe you have chosen wisely.
All right, Donovan, back to you.
Okay. I think I'll also again go with a smallish category, and I'm gonna go with Walpole to Denmark on the Bibbulmun track.
Oh, I knew you were going to pick this one.
Because I don't want to pick a different section of the Bibbulmun track. This section has it all. You have forest, you have coastline, you have kayaking, you have, some sand slogs that are memorable,
Terrible.
fantastic in their own way. It also includes the Sheila Hill Memorial track, so if anyone picks that, I've already kind of got it as well. And yeah, I love this section. It's one of the few sections I've done multiple times, and one of the few sections I will continue to do multiple times.
Okay, that's fair enough. I knew you were going to select that one too. All right, so I guess it's up to me. I'm going to go Southwest, and I'm going to go the people's favourite, and I'm going to go Bald Head Walk Trail. So I think this is probably one of the best day hikes in WA, if not Australia. Not that I've done a whole lot on the East Coast, but I'm going to make that claim. Just good lengths, out and back. Once you're kind of over that first bit, it just feels like you're in the middle of nowhere, and you could be kind of, marooned on a desert peninsula.
Which it is.
Which it is. And it just feels like hiking out to like the ends of the earth, which you are because you're staring out at the Southern Ocean. So bald heads, fantastic in spring, any weather. I think a bit of wind and rain makes this a bit more adventurous, and that is the reason I have chosen that one. Steve.
Okay, so I think I might go northwest, and I'm going to go for Hancock Gorge in Carragini. I loved that walk so much that I think I did it twice, possibly 3 times. I'm not sure. But I just love the way that it's not a particularly long walk, but it's just got a lot of things that most walks don't. It's got the spider walk. It's got Kermit's pool. There's sunshine. There's shade. There's swimming. There's walking. There's kind of hopping, climbing, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, that's mine.
That's a good choice.
Yeah, very good choice.
Yeah. And I'm assuming when selecting this, you're going out of school holiday season, so you don't have to battle the crowds?
I'm never travelling anywhere in school holidays ever.
There is a way around it, and that is get up early.
Yeah, true.
All right. Your pick again, Steve.
Yeah, so I'm going to go Cape to Cape. Another one of these trails that I haven't walked in such a long time. But I do remember some parts of it that I do hark back to. So I'm going to go Prevalida to Contos. And really the only reason is that, I mean, I could have picked some other sections, but I picked one. So that one there, it's got Bob's Hollow. And for me, that is just an awesome little spot. And do you know what? If you asked me to describe it to you, I probably couldn't. It's the memory that's actually sticking with me. And I mean, I've gone back and looked at photos, obviously, and, it's pretty easy to do that. Mm. But it was the feeling that stuck with me the whole way. So that's why I'm going for that one.
All right. Well, having picked that, you probably wouldn't have done the new alignment out of Prevalida, so that is now an improvement, so it's even better than you would have hiked.
And I like that section too, because it's been realigned. Apparently it's really good.
Alright, I am going to dip my toe into the Golden Outback, and I'm going to foil Donovan and take the Le Grand Coastal Trail. So I've not actually done this hike, but I've done bits of it.
Wasted on you.
Yeah, I cannot wait to go back and do this one. It just looks again like one of the best hikes in WA. Those that have hiked it, your thoughts?
Yeah, it would be the one that you would say, Bald Head and Le Grand. That's a bit of a 1-2 punch that you've got there of great coastal walking.
I've got to mix it up now because I've got 3 coastal
trails. One of my favourite walks as well. I think one of my favourite walks in WA.
It's the one I would have picked next if I had the chance.
I don't know. It's so hard to pick one from Golden Outbacks. It's so massive and encompasses everything from Esperance to Mount Augustus.
Well, since I've missed out on that one, I'm going to go for Mount Augustus Summit, because that was my next choice in that section. Did that earlier this year. Absolutely spectacular mountain walk. Better mountain walk than Bluff Knoll.
Oh, you hurt.
So taller than Bluff Knoll too.
How much snow does it get?
I'd say 0.0% chance.
Can you see a quokka on the top?
You can see frogs on the...
That is true.
And snakes.
Yeah, it's a walk that has, I think, it's not just, going up a flight of stairs. You get to go up and then you get to come down and you get to see different things. They've got...
That's if you make it down.
That's if you make it down alive. But those who make it down, they have experienced greatness.
I mean,
and you can go, there's 2 ways up or down as well, and one of them is really rugged and fun, and the other one is just maybe a bit easier.
Yeah, so I think that's what's great is that it's not
to Bluff Knoll. It's not just out and back.
Exactly.
Unless you want it to be.
The return journey can be more adventurous if you want.
And not to be flippant about this, but if you didn't make it down the return way, what a way to go, right? All right, Bonnie, you're up with 2 picks.
I think I'll snap up a really good Golden Outback one before they all go. And it's so hard to choose, but I'm going to say the Tagon Coastal Trail, even though there's other ones I love as well. But that one, just my memory of hiking it is really special. It was incredible. I guess we're seeing whales really close to the headlands, and I saw emus on the beach, and the water was crystal clear like all those South Coast beaches are, but there was also storms and blue skies and rainbows. I got stung on the head by a bee.
You saw emus on the beach here, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
So like stung by a bee on the head was like a highlight.
No, that was a low light, but it was memorable. And I was just the only person there, and it was vast and beautiful and just amazing coastal views.
Yes.
And quite good wildflowers too.
Yeah, beautiful down there. I concur. Like, it just feels like the ends of the earth. Like, there's no more civilization past there.
Yeah.
And this is also where I lost my camera, so I wasn't going to pick this on principle.
Yeah, amazing views because there's some mountainous terrain far away, like Mount Arid. Mount Ragged's further inland.
Yeah. Very, very nice spot. And you're up again for another pick.
Oh gosh, okay. I shall say I'll pick a Bibbulmun track section. I'll say this is going to be controversial with Donovan, but Northcliffe to Walpole.
Ooh.
And my reason for picking that one, it's one that I've done several times because I find if I need a break from day-to-day life, that's just just feels a world away from the city.
Some
and
meditative roids on there, maybe? Just
there
nothing
are.
to think about, but life?
No, there's a lot of really interesting sections. Lots of wildflowers. It's amazing in spring, all the orchids to find there. And changing scenery a lot. Like you go through plains with sedge grasses and things, and then into Karri Forest, Marri Forest.
Yeah.
Some beautiful campsites with big granite domes with the most incredible views. One of my best memories of the Bibbulmun is watching sunset on Woolbales Hill.
I would agree with that. It is a very nice section, and Donovan gives it too much of a hard time.
Yeah, and then there are there is one in particular, a long, boring section that Donovan hates.
Marin Road.
Marin Road.
It's waiting for it.
You can just see that as a meditative walk.
As a punishment. It's hell on
Oh,
earth.
and then there's also the coast, so it's so varied. So you get to Mandalay Beach, which is dramatic and amazing, and Long Point campsite, and you can do a side trip down to Thompson Cove and Mount Hopkins, which is awesome as well.
Which you could
Giant
also
dingle trees
select as a southwest walk with
could I?
the Nate's Wilderness walk.
Sorry.
So you could also do that. But yeah, lots of variety, good lengths.
Remote.
Nice campsites.
Yes.
So back to Donovan.
I think that I'm going to go for the Numbat track.
Okay,
Even though
Perth one.
Even though there are plenty of Perth walks, there are very few that I would pick.
What about Alan Anderson?
We haven't done that one yet, so he doesn't know how good it is.
I'm picking this because it is clearly, by some margin, the best day walk in the Perth region. I feel like there's other ones in other categories that I'd love to pick, but I would not want to get stuck with the Channel 10 Tower walk. It's lovely. I did it again this year recently, and it remains a favourite walk. Yeah.
This would have to be a 60-person draft for you to be stuck with the Channel 10 Tower walk. But good selection. It's, fantastic bit of land. Well looked after. Some may say too many steps, which is a criticism you had of Steve's Bluff Knoll pick.
Yeah, I mean, it's very. I think that's over the top. I think, Bonnie and I have talked about this. If you've not experienced the hell that is Rodriguez Pass, then you don't know what a lot of steps are.
Okay.
I'm surprised he didn't pick Kitty's Gorge, especially given the date, Donovan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
so
very good point.
it is a good point. I could have picked Kitty's Gorge. It is my wedding anniversary today, and I did propose to my wife at Kitty's Gorge, but the Numbat track is better.
All right, so I am up, and I am going to select in the Coral Coast category WA's newest trail, or newest hiking trail, the Yonga Trail. So this is in Lashua National Park. It can be done as a day walk because it is only 28 k's, and it is one you have done as a day walk, Donovan. Fantastic scenery, great wildflowers, nice campsite, and just a lot of variety within this one very long walk. So that is why I am selecting it.
Very good choice. Would have been one of on my short list.
Yeah.
It's on my short list too. It's for the wildflowers.
Okay, Steve, you're up, and then I'll get you to stop, and we'll have a recap of where we are in the
All right.
draft.
Sounds good to me. So I'm going to go Bib track, and I'm going to go Donnelly River to Northcliffe.
Oh,
Very good choice. That was my second choice.
Donnelly River Valley. What can I say? That's the main part of that section that I just love. It's deep in the Karri Forest, mostly by the river. Lots of variety through there. Wildflowers are insane, usually. Just a very pretty walk, and it's kind of one of the walks you can do almost any time of year. Further south, when you go from Pemberton to Northcliffe, that extra 3 days, I love the Warren River section through there. A lot of history around River Road Bridge. In and out of the Karri again, it's just lovely. And then you just finish off with a bit of farmland, bit of nice for variety going into Northcliffe. I just think it's a really good section. Lots of variety, easily accessible, and lots of challenging hills in the Donnelly River. And I love those hills there. That one that goes for a long way, maybe not that one, but most of the others. Plus also the bridges. There's some really cool log bridges through that section. Yeah. And almost every campsite is by a water feature of some kind. So yeah, I love it.
Good choice.
Yeah, fantastic.
Agree with that, and that was one you stole off me. So okay, so to recap, after a few rounds, we have Steve's selections. He has gone Hancock Gorge in the northwest, DRV to Northcliffe in the Bib track, Preveley to Contos on the Cape to Cape, and Stirling Range. He has gone Bluff Knoll. I have gone Bald Head in the southwest, Legrand Coastal Trail in the Golden Outback, the Yonga Trail in Coral Coast, and Yelling Up to Moses Rock on the Cape to Cape. Donovan has the Numbat track in Perth, Mount Augustus in the Golden Outback, Walpole to Denmark on the Bib, and Toolburn up in the Stirling Range. And Bonny has Nancy Peak Devil Slide in the southwest, Tagon Coastal Trail in the Golden Outback, Temple Gorge walking the Coral Coast, and Northcliffe to Walpole on the Bib. So I think I forgot to mention at the start, you guys already know this, but there is a wildcard category, so you can pick any day hike that hasn't already been selected from any of the categories, the regional categories. I suppose we can extend that to Cape and the Stirling Range as well, so just keep that in your back pocket as well.
Good to know.
So you're up again, Steve.
Oh dear. Right.
But actually, I'll take this point just to describe to everyone listening at home Steve's method. So we've all got either laptops or our phones out with all the spreadsheets, and Steve has handwritten, or he's printed everything out, and he's scribbled all over these pages.
I have a good reason for this. I have been spending too much time on a screen in front of a computer, so I've decided to go paper. So there.
I think
yes,
that's a very wise decision.
Yeah, but I'm also having trouble reading my writing. And so
in Perth Trail, Steve is taking Channel 10.
Is that what that says? Oh dear. Okay. Look, I'm going to go for a bit of an outlier here. I'm going to go Perth Trails.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to pick Wireless Hill.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I wasn't actually sure whether I was going to...
If it's wildflower season, I would possibly agree.
Yeah, look, and it is for that reason. Absolutely wildflower season, the wildflowers. But in particular, the orchids.
Yeah.
They are just always insane up there. Very dependable. If you ever want to show someone what a dancing spider orchid is, you can go up there and you will see one.
Yeah.
You want to see a carousel orchid, you will see one. You know,
With an asterisk
At the right time
during
of year.
spring.
yes, absolutely.
September.
Yeah. Indeed. But the season this year in particular was insane. The orchid season lasted so long, mainly because of the weather, of course, but just a very accessible spot, and I do mean accessible in all senses of the word. Bit of history up there too, being Wireless Hill, views over the river. I just think it's got a lot going for it, right in the middle of a very busy urban centre. You can just get away from everything just there. Love it.
Yeah, unexpected, but I can see why you chose it.
Yeah.
And then you can go do your shopping at Garden City.
And I might avoid that one.
I almost wasn't going to put that in because I thought, is it enough of a trail that it's even worthy putting
It
it
is,
down?
'cause you can,
Well, I
you can
took
walk
it, it's
around
there.
longer. Like, there's more trails, and you can make a long walk out of it.
And then you can go for a paddle in the river.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I won't argue with that then. I am on the clock now, so I'm going to go northwest. And with this one, I am going to go Mount Bruce. So I'm going to trump everyone and say I've got the highest trail.
Good view over the mine, though, isn't it?
Yeah, fantastic. No, that's the is it the Honey Eater hike or something that they've it's split into 3 trails according to Trails WA.
And they did that on Peak.
one.
Was
Yeah.
that Peak Charles as well? They've done that.
I think so. So yeah,
Yeah.
the full hike up to the summit is probably one of the best hikes in WA. Really challenging, even in the dead of winter when it's only in the mid to late 20s. There's that little chain section where you have to pull yourself along the edge, otherwise you fall to your death. Great views at the summit. It's a really flat summit as well. Good wildflowers. If you ignore the giant mine that they had to split the national park in 2 to accommodate, it is fantastic. So that is why I've gone Mount Bruce. And it's also what my mum calls me, so...
Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce. You're up, Donovan.
Okay, so I was tossing up whether to do this, but I think I need a good coastal trail, and all the good ones have been taken. So I'm gonna go for my wildcard pick,
Oh.
and I'm gonna pick the Hakea Trail
Oh. that's
because
good.
if I can't have Legrand and I can't have Bald Head, which Mark has both of, I need to have the Hakea Trail because, first of all, it's got one of the most amazing sections of trail, which is that bit which is just all those jagged rocks, and you walk past these like daggers sticking out of the ground.
They look like castles, I think, like some sort of fantasy novel
Yeah.
coastal scene.
Or
Yeah.
fallen
They're amazing.
starships from Star Wars.
Yeah, I was thinking like, if you played Warhammer 40k, like maybe the Tyranids.
Do you think is this like around Whalebone Beach or the end of Hammersley Beach? You're thinking of? There's a bit of
I think it's Hammersley Beach.
Hammersley
actually.
Beach.
But yeah, Whalebone.
yeah. 'Cause there's also when you're
that
looking down
inlet.
on Whalebone Beach, you see
Yeah.
those amazing quartzite.
Yeah. So, there's so many great things about this. Wildflowers are like a sledgehammer to the face of spectacular. The quality of the trail is great up until the height. The walking to the end is not great, but the final view, spectacular.
Yeah. So I included this as a day hike because technically, if you have the ability to car drop with a proper 4-wheel drive, you can do it in a day. So, good pick. You're up, Bonny. You've got 2
okay.
more.
I'm going to pick Cape to Cape, Naturalist to Yallingup. And there's a few reasons I love that one, but mainly because for a lot of the way you're walking along some cliff tops, like especially even starting from Cape Naturalist, it's really spectacular. It starts off, it's on a kind of a very well-made trail, which I tend to not prefer, but the views...
Has lots of access for more, maybe?
Yeah, access for more. So it's good that it's there, but I prefer something more rugged.
You
But-
hate wheelchair-bound people is what we're
No,
saying.
no. I might be in a wheelchair one day, so I wouldn't say that. But yeah, like amazing views right from the start and really good wildflowers as well. Incredible. And then Sugarloaf Rock, It's a bit of a detour to go and look at it properly, but that's a iconic, spectacular rock on that bit of coastline. But then south from there, it's just almost pretty much all the way to the campsite. It's just incredible views, and I've got really good memories of it, especially on winter days when there's not much wind but really big waves. Looking down and seeing seals and surfers. And yeah, and then the bit just into Yallingup isn't as interesting, but it's really nice reaching Yallingup after.
Yeah, I kind of find the last bit of that day just very samey. Like the
Yeah, it
view,
is.
because the coastline's very straight, the view doesn't really change too much.
Yeah, but looking down the cliffs
Yeah.
and all these little secret beaches and coves, and yes,
Yeah.
really good.
Good surfing around there too.
Yes.
All right, you're
And
back on for another
one.
pick.
All right. This wasn't going to be my original pick, but I'm going to say for Perth hikes, I'm going to pick the Eagle View Trail, which is a classic Perth Day hike that pretty much anyone who does lots of hiking has probably done. And it's a bit of a basic one, but it's a classic trail for a good reason. It's quite varied. Like the southern section of it, with the views of Perth and the rocks and boulders, is very different to the Christmas Tree Creek, which has amazing wildflowers. That's some of the best wildflowers on a hike in Perth, I think, in spring. Or Gilba. And then there's a beautiful section of Wandoo and Jarrah and Marrie. Maybe not quite as spectacular, but still really nice. And yeah.
Beautiful waterfalls through there.
Yes, yes.
Jane Brook as well.
Two
is a great
beautiful
one.
waterfalls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a pub at the end with giant kangaroos.
Yeah.
All right. So it goes Bonnie, then back to Donovan.
Okay, so I see that a lot of the Cape to Cape sections have gone, so I'm going to go with the next bit that is good, which is Moses
They're all
Rock to
good.
Gracetown. And that's because I love the ruggedness through that area. First of all, you've got that awesome creek crossing that is like pretty raging in winter. You've got the coastal cliffs.
Is that Willie Abrupt Creek you're talking about?
Willie Abrupt
Yep.
Creek, yeah. You've got the coastal cliffs as well, the Willie Abrupt Cliffs. And just that bit coming into Gracetown where it's all like the weird granite formations.
Yeah.
And
It's
you,
really cool.
The
you have
Whistling Rocks.
you have to skirt quite close
Whispering
to the
Rocks,
water
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the beach, I think the trail actually goes off the beach, but I took a wrong turn going went along the beach, but I'd actually prefer it that way.
Yeah, so I reckon this is probably my second favourite section after Prevali de Contos. Props to Steve. So, yeah, Moses Gracetown.
I think Cape to Cape track sections, you can't go wrong. They've all got something really good about them.
They're all fantastic, but there's also, I think the other sections have fairly long sand slogs. They're a little bit...
Which doesn't bother me. I like a long
I-
sand slog.
I agree, but rocks. I love rocks.
All right. So back to me. So for my wild card, I will mix it up. I won't go a mountain or a coastal trail. So I'm going to pick from the southwest with my wild card, the Warren River Loop Trail.
Damn it. That's going to be my wild card.
So this is one that I'm always like championing to anyone who is into hiking or even just camping and they want a good spot that's out of the way, not too many people know about it or visit, and is really, really stunning. So Warren River Loop Trail, good length, fantastic carry forest.
Yeah, some of the best carry forest that's easy to get to, I think.
Yeah.
In anywhere.
And that river section where you're walking right along it, there's mossy logs everywhere, and then you climb up to that lookout. It's yeah, fantastic. It's just a shame that the Pemberton Wine Centre isn't a short detour off there because it no longer exists. All right, so Donovan, no, Steve,
No.
you're up.
Give me a go. Okay.
You're going to have
Oh,
two goes now. Steve.
Golly gosh. Right. I'm going to go Coral Coast. I don't think I've done that yet. Wow. I'm going to go Lazure Trail. Is that the one that goes to the top?
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
I've got the right one in mind. Look, I'll fall back to what you said about the Yonga Trail, about the wildflowers. It's just that whole national park is just amazing in wildflower season. But I quite like the Elysia Trail up to the top. I've only done it once, but it was a bit of a highlight for me when I went and did that. The Yonga Trail wasn't around then either. But just anything that's got a summit and views in it is good. And it's also, from memory, not just straight up. It kind of curves around a bit, dips down, up you go again. So a bit of variety in there too. And yeah, I think it's one of the best ones out of the list I've got in front of me that I know of, at least.
Well, we can walk that one together, Steve, because it does go along the Yonga Trail for a while.
Ah, very good.
All right, and you're up again. So you have...
I hate these double ones.
Southwest, Golden Outback, and Wildcard Left.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go for a wild card, and it's going to come from the Southwest. And it's a little less well-known trail called the Lane Pool Falls Track. Only done it once or twice, but again, lots of karri forest, waterfalls. I just love karri and water. It starts at a point called the Old Barara Tree, which was a fire lookout tree, and then just heads down deep into the valley from there. Bit of history too. It's the old southern terminus of the old Bib track there too, so a bit of a connection there for me. So it was really good for me to actually walk around that little area, even though it wasn't the Bib track by the time I got there. But yeah, just a lovely little section deep in the forest.
Just out of curiosity, when was the last time you walked it?
That section? Ooh, a while ago.
The Lane Pool Falls Track.
Yeah, a while ago.
Okay,
what's happened?
The 2015 fires went through there, and it is horrible. Well, it's not horrible, but it's not as good as it probably was when you walked through. But I like the personal history.
It was
of that
before
one,
that.
We won't say you've wasted your pick there, but
Don't.
All right, so I am on the clock. I have Perth Trails, Bib Track, and Stirling Range left. Now I'm going to go Stirling Range because the other three I don't need to worry, or the other two I don't need to worry about because you've all selected. So I'm going to go one of my favourite trails in the whole Stirling Range, and one that remains unburnt, Mount Magog. So this is one of the longer day hikes you can do. There's a bit of a flat section where you get to warm yourself up, and then the climbing up to the summit is quite insane in terms of gradient, and the wildflowers are just spectacular. So that's the reason I've chosen Magog, and also you get great views looking back towards Taljubel up and Toolburn up.
Yeah, good choice.
So now onto you, Donovan. You've got Southwest, Coral Coast, and Northwest to go.
Okay, so I'm going to pick something from Coral Coast, and this is a tough one because there's a lot of trails here. I reckon that this particular area of WA is very underrated, and I love so many of the trails here, but I'm going to pick the Bajira Jira Trail.
Nice.
So I'm picking this because it's just so different to every other walk there. You know, I love the fact that it feels like almost like you're in some American state looking down into a canyon. There's a photo I took of Alyssa looking down into Shot Hole Canyon that's sort of like the iconic The Long Ways Better photos. Fantastic walk. Unfortunately, a dangerous walk. People have died doing it. But I think Trails WA do a disservice to the spectacular nature of this walk by not promoting it. I think that you can mitigate the risks, which is don't walk it in the middle of summer. The kid who died did it in March, which is craziness. You do this in winter, you do this in spring, maybe late autumn would be okay, but never do this in summer or early autumn or late spring.
Yeah. So I did this one in August, and it was warm, but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
And just be careful when you're spelling Shot Hole Canyon, because the I is right there. It's very easy to not spell it correctly. All right, Bonny, you're up with 2 picks, and you have Northwest, Stirling Range, and your wild card left.
All right. Well, I'll go with Stirling Range first. And it's so hard to pick a favourite Stirling Range hikes. I love all of them.
Out of the ones that are left.
and the ones that were picked as well. But I'm going to go with Mount Hassel, and the reason is for the views from the top and on the way up are sublime. Tulluyubalup is good too, and also has good views and interesting rocks. But I think Mount Hassel, the view of Toolbrunup is spectacular, and I think it rivals the view that you get from Bluff Knoll. You know, when you're on Bluff Knoll and you're looking back towards the eastern ridge of peaks. So it's similar level of spectacularness. And you also get a good view of Mount Trio and Bluff Knoll in the eastern ridge.
Yeah.
And it's like quite a, and one of the easier walks in the Stirling Range. So just a nice, relaxing, more gentle one. It's reasonably easy most of the way up until the very end where there's a bit of rock scrambling. But it's just a good one if you're on your way home from Albany or something and you just want to do a quick walk. Really good option.
Yeah, it does, because it's kind of like 3 levels, so you do a bit of a steep bit, then it flattens, and another steep bit and flattens.
Yeah, it's not like just a constant hard slog, and also most of the path is
burnt.
No, I was gonna say most of the path. It's not like super rugged.
Sorry, I'm just championing my cause for picking the best Stirling Range hike.
I have done it post burn, and it was okay. I did think it looked better before. But, I think the fact that it's mostly heathlands, it will recover. And actually, because it has burnt, that scrambly bit, there's now a way around it. So it's a little bit easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a shame.
Yeah.
But also the other thing about it is I think the summit is really distinctive. You can see as you're approaching the summit, it's just like this sort of a rock on top of the mountain.
Yeah.
Which I just think that's kind of cool.
And there used to be prayer flags at the summit, and you'd get that nice view of the prayer flags and Toolbrunup. The prayer flags are definitely not there anymore. But yeah, it was a lovely view, and still is a lovely view because, that view of Toolbrunup is just iconic, I reckon.
Yeah.
Would you say this is better with snow, Steve?
Snow just wins hands down as far as I'm concerned. If you're from WA, it's snow all the way.
Although in all seriousness, it's one of the lower peaks, so I don't think it would get snow.
Alright, so you're up again, Bonny. You got Northwest and Wildcard to go.
Okay, the Wildcard one is so difficult. I'm going to go with the Mamang Trail. Maybe I'm being a bit unoriginal because it's kind of similar to the Tagon Trail, which I picked before, but the Mamang Trail, I just have the most amazing memories of the first time I walked it. I've walked it as an overnight hike and as a day hike. It's always amazing. But the first time I ever walked it was actually the first time I visited St Mary Beach in Point Anne, where I go back to every year now. And there were whales just like right behind where the waves were breaking. But it was the most perfect day with no wind, freezing cold, but just absolutely spectacular. And then the wildflowers along that trail are amazing as well. And the Royal Hakea, I must admit, last time I walked it, they weren't looking... Royal Hakea looked a bit dead or dying.
Yeah, when I was there was lots of
this was
black
last
ones.
year.
Yeah,
last September. And then Fitzgerald... Is it Fitzgerald Beach?
My favourite beach in WA.
I think it's one of my favourites as well. It's crystal clear water, perfect white sand, whales.
Yeah.
No one around.
No one around. And then there's the Forbidden Peaks of the middle of...
The Mid-Barrens.
Yep, the Mid-Barrens. They're at the other end of the beach.
Mm. So it's one of those spots that's very rare in WA in that there's no vehicle access, and there'll be no vehicle access.
Yes.
So it's kind of like you hike in and you literally have the place to yourself. You can't see or hear anyone. It's
not that rare, but it is rare for a long beach, a long white sand beach on the south coast. There's a lot of little coves and mountains and things where you can't get a car, but...
And it's a calm beach, because a lot of the beaches on the south coast are, like, dangerous.
Yes and no. It's calm in that corner at the end of the Mamang Trail, but I've walked the whole beach and it actually gets really wavy further up.
Nice. That was a good pick. So moving back, Donovan, you have Southwest and Northwest to go.
Okay, so if I can't have Hancock Gorge, then I have to have Dales Gorge. I think that Weeno and Hancock, as a combined experience, are a good walk, whereas Hancock's maybe a bit short. But
You made a bad selection, Steve.
Dales.
Not at all, because
no.
you can spend so much time down there.
I think that the thing is Hancock is so perfect that, like it is the best one there. But Dale's Gorge as an experience, because it's a bit longer, it's a bit more sustained, you can get to see a lot of things there. So if I couldn't have Weno and Hancock together, I'd rather Dale's in a sense, because you've got two pools. It's kind of like a dog bone. Like you've got two pools on either end. With this,
Except
like,
I think
section
one
in the
end's
middle.
closed at the moment because of the rock falls.
This was a bit of a point about the Northwest Trails, is because Dale's Gorge has circular pool that's closed at the moment. Weno Gorge has handrail pool that's closed at the moment. So I think we'll just assume that everything's open and fine.
Yeah.
DBCA have put in all the safety measures.
Does that mean Lane Pool Falls track isn't burnt?
No.
So yeah, when I did it, the pools were open, and the two pools in this walk are really spectacular. Especially the one, which is the one that's closed at the moment, is
Circular pool.
Circular Pool. Is that Circular Pool the one that has the waterfall?
No, that's Fortescue.
Fortescue Falls. Yeah.
Handrail's also closed as well.
Fern pool. There's 3 swimming spots on this.
Yeah, they're all great. Like I can't remember the names, but I remember being really impressed with this walk. I was like, I say to people, if you have 2 days and you only have 2 walks to do, you do Weno and Hancock, and then you do Dales, I reckon. And then if you have a bit of time left over, go and swim in the pool at Hammersley.
If you're allowed.
Yeah.
All right, so back to me. So I have Perth and the Bib Track. I'm going to put this one to you guys because I've included it in the master list. No one said anything, but the Mount Cook Circuit.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that's kind of
As
the
it's
Bibbulmun track.
not an official trail. People at Trails WA would banish you if you posted about it on the Facebook page. But
I
are
was
we
well going to say
allowing?
it doubles up with Darling Range.
Yeah, are we allowing that?
Yeah,
Well,
of
you
course.
made the list.
Okay. I have ultimate power here. Okay, so I'm going to select the Mount Cook Circuit in Perth Trail. So this is the one where you park at the pine plantation, the Cook plantation. And for the purposes of this, I'm going to do what I probably should have done for my write-up, is go up to the top of Mount Cook from the pine plantation, go to the cave, go down to the Mount Cook campsite on the Bib Track, and then come back and do the whole Bib to the power lines, and then loop back to the plantation and do that as the circuit. So kind of like a loop with a there and back. Acceptable?
Yeah.
Okay. So I picked this one just because of Mount Cook, highest spots that isn't affected by bauxite mining in the Darling Range. It has wonderful granite boulders up the top, beautiful wildflowers, amazing views. I love staring east from there and just there's nothing but forest, even though...
Especially if it's
Yeah.
sunrise. One of the best sunrises I've ever seen was up
Indeed,
there.
and parking at the plantation means you can easily access it at sunrise. You don't have to hike 10 kilometres to get in. You've got the Bib campsites, fantastic forest all around. It's just a really, really nice hike.
And it feels, something about Mount Cook feels very ancient, I think.
Yeah, because you got the big
Maybe all the
boulders.
zania
everything's-
palms and
yeah,
boulders. Yeah.
fantastic. Steve, you have 2 more picks left.
Right.
And you have Southwest. Oh, no. Yeah, sorry. Southwest and Golden Outback.
Okay. So I think I've just got to get out more. The last 20 years I've just been bib tracking and nothing else. Not quite true. But I'm looking at Golden Outback, and when I first saw this list, I had to look up a few of those. And I was quite surprised to find out that East Mount Barron isn't just the east side of West Mount Barron. Anyway, I was down that way, not quite there, but back in January. And I was going to pick the Legrand Coastal Trail, but seeing as that's gone, I am going to go Frenchman's Peak.
Good choice.
Yeah, I quite like that. I first did that after my first end-to-end back in 2000 because I kind of knew I couldn't go back to society straight away. So we spent a week driving from Albany to Esperance and beyond as far as Cape Arid. And I just remember Frenchman's Peak going to the top of that. And I was really looking forward to going back this year. So 20 years later in between. So a long way. But it was just as great. I loved it. It just reminded me of everything back then as well. Great views. Again, boulders. Love the boulders. Ocean views. Bit of a challenge too, and different parts to it, into the, do you call it a cave?
Also, it's all very natural. I like that about it. It's not a manicured trail.
That's right.
Just straight up the
Pretty
rock.
basic.
Yeah.
And it's lovely.
Do you want to know if it's burnt or not?
It's not burnt.
Yeah, no, I agree. Very, very challenging hike, because if it's wet, I would advise not to do this, because the granite is very, very steep and will be slippery. But yeah, fantastic.
Bit like Mount Cook,
views.
really.
Yeah, but at least Mount Cook you can get up.
Yeah, even in rain, you still can at least get up.
So yeah, I didn't include Mount Legrand on this because it's not an official trail, but has great views over to Mount Legrand, and yeah, just amazing coastal scenery through there. Your last pick, Steve.
Right. I think Southwest.
And we're into the final round.
Oh, wow. There's quite a few trails there. Given what you've talked about burnt, I'm not going to go the Newts Wilderness Trail. I'm going to leave that one.
Well, you're the one that said it was the Nate's Wilderness Trail. Why are you calling it the Newts?
Oh, I don't know. Yes,
I thought it was
things.
the Noits.
Noits, Nates. Yeah.
Noits.
Like I said, whatever. Monadnock's, monadnock's, right? Okay. I think I'm going to go for the Castle Rock Skywalk.
Okay, good selection.
Yeah. It's actually interesting. It's a walk and a climb. So there's handholds. There's like you feel like you're actually in an indoor rock climbing centre almost, going up that last part before you get to the ladder to go to the very, very top. But about 2 kilometres walk in, Carry Forest, a variety of forest actually through there. Glimpses of views even on the way up. You've got a choice when you get to near the top to not go up that final scramble. You can do the little sidewalk out to the lookout, which has got pretty good views itself. But of course the climb up through the rocks and then up the ladder all the way to the top to that big lookout at the top that they've built into the side of the rock is just amazing, I think.
Yeah, and the rock you end up on is pretty amazing, that huge boulder.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's just an amazing rock. And to be kind of stuck off the side of it, because most other walks you're on top, right? And so this still towers above you, but you get all the views.
Yeah.
And you look down too, because you can look through the grate underneath you. So you've got to have your wits about you a little bit if you're scared of heights. But it's just a brilliant walk, I think. And I think they've done a really good job of showcasing that.
Although they like to showcase it with drone photos.
That's
rather
good too.
Because little known fact is there's eagles pick you up at the top and they take you to see those views of the drones.
You've got to book your eagle ahead of time.
Yeah.
I just heard they just show up at random moments like the Lord of the Rings eagle.
You just got to whisper to like a moth and then it'll happen.
I'm picturing the Wizard of Oz, those monster things?
Oh yeah, the flying monkeys.
Whatever they are. Yeah, those things, yeah.
Not part of the experience. But good pick, Steve. Good pick. And I'm surprised you talked about the modern feature that's there, not the old rickety ladder.
I remember the old rickety ladder up there. Being a bit Esmeralda here, but I think I preferred the old rickety ladder.
Okay.
I remember doing that hike with my mum in about 2009 maybe, and she really didn't want me to climb up to the top, and I insisted. I was like, no, I really want to. She was like stressed the whole time because she thought it looked too rickety.
Okay, so I'm up with my last pick, which is the Bib Track. And all of my picks that I wanted are all gone.
What about your section?
I'm in a bit of a conundrum. No, too many car campers, and they haven't realigned it yet.
Your section has some of the best wildflowers.
It does, but that doesn't make up for some of the other bad
also,
bits.
some of the worst flies in late spring.
Yeah, and you've got the bushfires are going through there. You've got Alcoa.
You got the river.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick Dwelling Up to Collie, so I'm tossing up between the first and the last section. So Kalamunda to Sullivan Rock. So to make it fair, with lengthwise. I didn't break this up Kalamunda to Dwelling Up because that's too long. So it was Kalamunda to Sullivan Rock to Dwelling Up, and then town to town from there. I might go Kalamunda to Sullivan Rock, just because that first section all the way through to Bear King or Barracking or Barracking is just fantastic. Like, it's very hilly, very challenging, great forest. You've got Lake Seaway O'Connor, some of the best campsites on the track overlooking that valley. You've got Mount Dale a bit further on. From there it gets a bit troublesome leading towards Monadnocks, but then you get Mount Cuthbert, Mount Vincent to finish, and Sullivan Rock. So Kalamunda to Sullivan Rock, you can easily do that in 8 days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rank that as my third favourite section. So I would consider that well chosen, Mark.
I think it's well chosen. That's one of my I think the section I chose from Northcliffe to Walpole, I like that in autumn, winter or spring. Whereas Darling Range, I love it in Jilba, Camberang time. And then other times I like it, but it's not my favourite. It does have amazing wildflowers.
I figured I would not pick Denmark to Albany because I've already got quite a few coastal trails, so I'll mix it up to provide some variety.
Good choice.
Good choice. All right, Donovan, you are up on your last pick, which is the southwest, and you have so much to pick from.
Yeah, I do. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about why I haven't picked my shortlist ones quickly. So Access for More is...
Ooh, that was on your shortlist.
Was on my shortlist. Just because I feel like that to me is very similar to like the first bit of the Overland, in that it's just like spectacular, and leads to like a landmark feature, which is Sugarloaf Rock. But I have a coastal section of the Cape to Cape, so no, not going to pick that. The Bay du Deux Peoples Heritage Trail is fantastic. Little Beach is wonderful.
So two People's Bay for those that aren't French.
But,
or anything else.
But like I think it's not, as a walk, it's great, but not the one I was going to pick, because I have some other coastal walks. Beetle Up Falls, another great waterfall, but a very short walk. The Jabbage Trail, really fantastic.
Yeah, I almost picked that for my wild card.
Burnt now.
Burnt. Yeah, I'd say if it hadn't been burnt, this would be a shoe-in. I think surprisingly good trail. I said that. Trails WA copied that I said surprisingly good trail. The Meelup Trail is also on my short list, but I have a section of the Cape to Cape that's kind of similar, so not going to pick that one. There's Peak Head Walk Trail, which is similar to Bald Head.
It's a lesser Bald Head.
But it's a lesser Bald Head.
Yeah.
Same can be said about Point Possession Heritage Trail.
That's completely different to Bald Head, that one.
Which one?
Point Possession.
No, I feel like there's a similarity in that it's like granite formation and peninsula.
Yeah.
That's
You
about
know. And Sheila Hill Memorial Track already have that section of the Bibbleman, so why should I have it twice?
Double up if you love it so much.
Which leaves me with one that here says Mount Franklin, but I'm including, when I say, because you just called it Mount Franklin, I'm saying that includes Culdianup Trail and the Lookout.
That's what I meant with that one.
Yeah, so all three of those things are great. The Lookout is a bit of an easy climb to the summit. It's not that amazing. The Lookout is a short walk, but what a lookout view. And the Culdianup Trail is actually, I think, a fantastic trail. I don't have a lot of Karri Forest stuff in my selections other than,
Walpole
including,
to Denmark.
Walpole to Denmark, where I have that. So I had to include something else, and this is one that I think is a really good, short, but spectacular walk.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a few left. A bit surprised you didn't pick, but yeah,
Like?
bit of variety. So I don't know. We'll do this at the end of trails that almost got picked but didn't. So we'll move on to Bonny before we do that. For your last pick, which is the Northwest, and I know why you picked this last. It's because you've not visited the area that much.
I haven't. I've visited the Northwest region, but I haven't done any of these trails. I've only been there on childhood holidays with the family, anywhere north of Ningaloo, Mount Augustus.
Yep.
So I have to go with one that I would love to do based on photos, and that's Cathedral Gorge in Pernalulu.
Yeah.
I've just seen the most incredible photos of that place. So one day I will do that. What I'd really, really love to do, it's a bit of a dream, would be like a rugged off-track hike through the Bungle Bungles. I don't know if I'll ever do that, but yeah, that would be a dream. But I'd love to see Cathedral Gorge.
I've got that tentatively planned for 2023. Do the Pickaninny Creek or the Gorge walk, the little off-track one you can do for however many days you want to take. So that whole area just looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cathedral Gorge was on my shortlist for the Northwest, even though I haven't done it yet. It just looks spectacular. So excellent pick, despite not having been in the area. And that rounds us off. So I will put all of this onto the socials and the description for this podcast, but I'll just run through it at the moment. So Steve, for Perth Trails, has Wireless Hill, Southwest, Castle Rock Granite Skywalk, Golden Outback, Frenchman Peak, Coral Coast, the Lasua Trail, Northwest, Hancock Gorge, Bib Track, Donley River to Northcliffe, Cape to Cape, Prevelly to Contos, Stirling Range, Bluff Knoll, and Wildcard, the Lane Pools Fall Track, the unburnt version. So in that order, I've gone the Mount Cook Circuit, Bald Head Walk Trail, Legrand Coastal Trail, Yonga Trail, Mount Bruce, Kalamunda to Sullivan Rock, Yelling Up to Moses Rock, Mount Magog, Warren Loop Walk Trail. Donovan has the Numbat Track, Mount Franklin, Mount Augustus, Bajira Trail, Dales Gorge, Walpole to Denmark, Moses Rock to Gracetown, Toolburn and the Hakea Trail. Good lineup. And rounding it off, Bonny has Eagle View Walk Trail, Nancy Peak Devil Slide, Tagon Coastal Trail, Temple Gorge Walk, Cathedral Gorge, Northcliffe to Walpole, Cape Naturalist to Yallingup, Mount Hassel, and the Mamang Trail. So good selecting, guys. This went a lot better than I expected, based on all of the I don't understand what the hell is going on. What's this? Can you explain a bit further that we had before this? So excellent work. I don't even think the original podcast that stole this off did this well in their first episode. I think they had some controversy about the category. So excellent selecting.
What did you think was going to happen?
That we would all get confused. Donovan
We'd all be silly.
Yeah, threatened to pick the worst trails he could out of all of it.
But that would have been great. That would have been very entertaining.
So, yeah, it would have been fun, but I like when everything goes well.
Should have done a version with the worst trails. Actually, no.
We probably can. Maybe for one in the future. But we may extrapolate this out to other states in Australia, but given our limited experience, I think it might just be a Tassie one. If we can find some suitable guests that have done a lot of hiking in Tassie. So let's talk about trails that missed the cut. So is there any Perth trails that you guys would like surprised didn't get picked, or were thinking like 50-50 that was going to be your selection?
Yes, I almost thought of picking Whistlepipe Gully, even though it's really short. Just because it's just really pretty, and
it is.
Yeah, it's one that I go to in, say, in late winter or spring if I've just got a few hours free and got a day full of social obligations or something, and I just want to get out into the bush, and I do a short walk there. And I know people who have dogs, which I don't, but a lot of people I know do, and they really like Whistlepipe Gully for that as well, because one of the few places you can take a dog that's really scenic.
I'm surprised that Kitty's Gorge wasn't selected.
Actually, yes.
Thought about
I love
it.
Kitty's Gorge.
The thing that holds it back for me is all the weeds.
Yes, exactly.
It just doesn't feel like a natural hike sometimes through Gurulong Brook.
However, if you had combined Kitty's Gorge with Baldwin's Bluff, I may have chosen that over Eagle View.
Yeah. Rock Nest hikes.
Yeah, none of those came up.
I deliberately, they were on my short list, but given how many of the coastal trails I selected first, I thought it was a bit overkill, but any one of those would be in the top.
Yeah, they're all really
10.
good, but for me, I've all my life been going to Rock Nest a lot on family holidays and things, and I always used to just walk the coastline without any trail, walk along the beach and then walk over some limestone rocks and then back onto another beach. So to me, they feel almost redundant, even though I understand they're really good.
Yeah.
And it's good that they've put them in.
The ones through the lakes, I think, are worth it because it's the Gabby
that's true.
Karnini and it goes through the lakes and then.
Actually,
loops
the
back
one
by
that
the
I
coast.
haven't done yet is the lakes one. So, but even then, you can ride your bike around the lakes.
Yeah.
Get to see a lot more walking though.
Okay, fair enough. I'll reserve judgment on that until I've done it.
I think that the thing is that with Rottnest is that they're good for Perth. You know, like there's better coastal walks outside if you expand the bubble. Kind of like there's better mountain walks in Australia than Bluff Knoll.
Yeah.
Or better mountain walks in the Stirling Range than Bluff Knoll.
Yeah, exactly.
Hardy
And
hard.
Bluff Knoll is not bad. I just mean
Back to
it's-
Perth trails.
Yeah. No one selected Monday Brook or Lions Lookout. That's very surprising. Or Channel 10.
I was tempted to choose Channel 10 just for the controversy.
You would have been booted out immediately.
Did you think I was going to actually do it?
No,
I wouldn't put it past you.
Not after my stern words this afternoon.
That wouldn't have stopped me.
Or Alan Anderson.
The Railway Reserve's Heritage Trail, I thought about it, but it's a more enjoyable ride than it is a hike.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it was a cycle, like a cycle draft, then
Yeah.
I would pick it.
All right, moving on to the southwest. I mean, there was just a lot. I've listed, well, the final list that has the Whale Trail on it has 61 trails. 59 trails. So there's a lot here. The Gloucester route stands out to me.
That's a really good one, but I feel like the Warren River Loop is made perhaps slightly better.
Yeah.
Which is why I chose that one over the Gloucester route. Anything in Wellington National Park,
Yeah.
that didn't get selected.
I almost picked the Jabbage Trail, especially if I was thinking of Jabbage Trail in about October with all the feather flowers in bloom and...
I think because I've seen it recently burnt, and I recently did Mount Franklin. I was like, Mount Franklin looks way better at the moment.
Yeah.
I haven't done Mount Franklin in years. I haven't done Mount Franklin since they did all the whatever they've done with the Lookout, so a long time ago. But I remember back when I did it a few times in my early 20s. I loved it so much. I just remember the bird song being incredible and the view. It really felt like wilderness, that view.
They replaced the wooden bridge across the granite with
Yes.
this horrible stainless steel thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't look
No,
the
I
same.
think I would have preferred it before. Oh well.
There's a whole lot of Albany hikes. I mean, you alluded to some before that there's kind of lesser
Can't
versions.
go wrong with Albany.
Yeah, but Mount Martin Botanical Reserve, I think, deserves a shout out because it is the home of the Queen of Sheba.
Yeah.
Well, the
Sort of.
very rare one that's in that area. There's just a heap of wildflowers.
Yeah,
through
I'd say the home of the Scarlet Banksia.
Home
Yep.
of the flyers as well, if you go into the time of year.
Well, that's your own fault for going there. Great views across the bay, off towards Albany as well. Fantastic.
I'd even mention the Luke Penn Walk, which is a very understated. It's not spectacular at all, but it's really pleasant.
The wildflowers there are fantastic
Yeah,
along the river.
they're really good. There's some sections with weeds, but a lot of it, especially the first section of it, is really good.
Aboriginal heritage as well with the fish traps through there.
Yeah.
Doesn't get enough of a shout out.
Some art as well.
Oh yeah, the
There's
big
some
metal bird.
sculptures.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I forgot
yeah.
about that. What else? The Wadandi track I included in here. It's more of a cycle trail, but
Exactly.
Yeah, I
kind of
wouldn't
one
rate
of
that for
the
hiking.
only hikes around Margaret River that's half decent.
I think some of those ones in Bramley Brook area are really pleasant, like short hikes.
I think that's what's holding some of these hikes back is just the length.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I quite like some of the ones around Quinninup, but
Yeah.
the length was for me as well
Yeah.
for those ones.
And one final one, Mount Lindsay.
That is a good walk.
Good lengths, up to a mountain, great views, good
Yeah.
wildflowers. Just didn't get
That's
selected.
one
Yeah.
that I haven't done in a long time and I need to do again.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Golden Outback. So this had the most selected out of it. So we had the Hakea Trail and the Mamang Trail as wild cards.
Golden Outback's a bit ridiculous because it really should be several regions. 'Cause Esperance is completely different to...
Yeah, the inland sections.
yeah.
But there's not
like-
a lot there.
that-
between like Esperance and kind of the northern areas.
Not a lot of official trails, I guess.
I think that's the bit. I think the one that stands out, nothing in Dryandra got picked.
I could have picked the Lol Grey Trail. I always lol at the name of it.
The laugh out loud grey trail.
But that's
or the Lots of Love Trail.
Lots of Love Trail, yeah. I did that one a few years ago in October, and again, I mentioned wildflowers a lot because I love wildflowers, but they were really stunning in October.
I really like the Ochre Trail there. It's actually, I think, a very good walk.
Yeah, I recently did that one and just fantastic. Like if Dave Osborne was to design an official trail,
I
that's
haven't
probably
done that one.
he
I
would do.
think I'd like it by the sound of it.
Yeah, no, just that one point where you get and you look over down the hill and there's all the farmland in the distance. It's quite nice. Peak Charles.
Oh yeah, that would be a short list for me. That's a really nice walk.
So
It's not as I loved Peak Charles, but I think I prefer some other similar walks in terms of big, huge granite mountain or hills. Like I think Frenchman's Peak I probably prefer. But I think Peak Charles, the adventure of going there and camping there, and it's just really remote, and yeah, you really feel like you're getting away from it all.
The Barrens.
Yeah.
East
I
Mount Barren,
love both the Barrens.
which is not on the east side of West Mount Barren. But I think what holds these back is they're just too short.
too short.
Yeah.
And then when you think of Fitzgerald River National Park and some of the amazing long walks you can do
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like
that encompass similar scenery.
they were both wildcard picks, the Hakea and Remang Trail.
Yeah.
And why would you select East Mount Barren or West Mount Barren?
East
when you
Mount
have
Barren, actually no, both of them, they are pretty special. And if you do just want a short walk, they're really good. But then they're not right down on the beach,
Yeah.
which a lot of people like.
Because the main thing that's spectacular about them is the wildflowers.
Yeah, they're amazing wildflowers.
And you can get that on the longer walks.
But you also get really good views, especially East Mount Barren.
That is true.
And you can,
Yeah.
that's an amazing view.
Coral Coast. This is one that I kind of struggled with because the list isn't very long.
Yeah, I struggled as well. But in the
It's-
end, Kennedy Range is just so spectacular. I had to go with
It's
it.
kind of it's a few spots. It's
Yeah.
not like a big range of hikes.
I actually struggled a bit with this because I love this area so much. Like, I could have easily picked the Biggerda Trail for that just spectacular coastal, cliff
Yeah.
views.
Oh yeah, it's got all those Kalbarri walks.
I could easily have picked the Wannamalu Trail just for like that desert, like desert red sand right on the beach.
I'm actually surprised no one picked a Kalbarri walk at any point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Zebben was going to come up at some point.
If
Yeah.
it had been the one that I do, which is
I know the one. If it had been Kalbarri
Yeah.
Gorge,
if it had
I
been
would've picked
basically
that.
through the gorge
Kalbarri
itself,
I would have picked that definitely.
100%. Yeah.
It's one
And
of
I
the best walks. I've ever
Deliberately
done.
didn't include any of the homemade trails that we've done just because they're
Yeah.
not easy ones to follow. But yeah, I mean, Kalbarri has a lot to do. Same with Exmouth, through the Cape Range. There's a few there, and Kennedy Range.
And I never pronounce it right, but Lezeur National Park.
Le Sueur.
Lezeur.
Yeah. The Uwat Pona would definitely have been a very close pick for me.
Yeah.
Just because it's like the Yonga Trail, but more concise. And therefore, like, from a I hate heat perspective, can sometimes be a better walk in that regard.
All right, Northwest again. Kind of, it's limited to a few places. So, Karajini's the obvious one,
Yeah.
and then you've got bits and pieces. Penalulu.
Penalulu. I'm probably, I don't know. I was thinking. I definitely went with I went with Hancock Gorge, but Echidna Chasm up at Penalulu. Very short, but that is beautiful through there.
So when I was researching my planned trip, I didn't realise how many actual trails were up there. You could easily spend a week up there and do them all. So yeah, I'm happy that has an array of hikes to do. But yeah, it's hard to go past Karajini. There's just a lot to do there as well.
I mean, you could pick any of the gorges there. And another one that I did really was very close to picking, which is Chichester Camel Trail.
Yeah.
Because that's a really nice, and it's a very different walk because you walk through like kind of a desert climate.
And the Spinifex plains, like a lot of the Carragini walks just take you into the gorges, whereas this is open area, which is the Warringuna Trail, which is on the Millstream side of that. That's a really good walk just to kind of link up the Spinifex plains with the rivers and the pools through there.
And of course you get the Sturt Desert Pea, which is a lovely wildflower.
Indeed. Bib track. So I think we did pretty well on this one.
Yeah, I think so.
I think Denmark to Albany is really the only one you could kind of put up there with the ones that were selected.
I actually disagree. That's not one of my favourite sections.
Yeah, it's not one of my favourites.
I just love the Bibbulmun track, so any section I really like. But if I have to go with favourites, it's Walpole to Northcliffe, all through the Karri Forest, and then like the Walpole to Denmark section of the coast, especially with like Mount Halliwell and around Boat Harbour area and stuff.
Yeah, see, I quite like Denmark to Albany. Various reasons. I mean, specifically on that section, I like West Cape How to Torbay.
I love West Cape. West Cape How to Torbay is
down
stunning.
to the gullies. There's that long staircase.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It feels to me like you can see that they were rushing to get to the end.
I agree.
Where they could have gone more into West Cape How, I feel.
Yeah,
and I still think they really, really, really need to put a walking trail out to West Cape How and Torbay Head and Dunsky Beach.
Don't disagree, but
that's just such a missed opportunity. Not necessarily the Bibbulmun, but a side trip.
Yeah.
And it's I've walked out there on the 4-wheel drive tracks before. It was a bit.
It's not pleasant.
It was a bit dangerous, I thought, with all the cars coming past. I thought, I'm a bit of a fool for doing this. I won't do this again.
I'll sacrifice my realignment to Yordamong. You can do that.
But I love the Kingdom of Pie and the Sanctuary of Pie. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah,
they're
I enjoy
genuinely
them, but
two of my favourite sections for flowers.
Dwelling
and
up
for the
to
river.
Collie just seems very not samey, but kind of you're same
yes
with.
And no. I like it for a similar reason to the Northcliffe to Walpole section, is that it feels remote to me.
Yeah,
it might just be my perception.
As long as you're not going at Easter or a long weekend.
Yeah, true.
Pig hunters out or something.
I disagree.
Not
with
so
you.
much Swamp Oak. Swamp Oak and Murray do not feel remote.
No,
but beyond them.
I think that this is like, to me, I do think some of the dwelling up bits are really nice, but this is also one of the like scrappy burnt jarrah sections, so I really don't like it.
But the wildflowers are so good, really good orchids.
Yeah, but it's not sledgehammer to the face.
Yes, it is. Have you been there? Have you walked it in October?
No, but what I mean when I say sledgehammer to the face, I mean that
it
is
sledgehammer to the face in October.
When you're standing there, that the predominant colour you see is the wildflowers,
it
not
is.
black.
Have you been through the avenue of pink through the Kingdom of Pie when all the melaleucas are in flower?
I have been through some of those sections on the Mundabiddy.
No, I think you don't know what you're missing out on. It is sledgehammer to the face wildflowers. That's why it's amazing. Okay. At the right time of year, if you go in October.
Yeah.
So but is it mostly burnt?
Even September?
Okay, I'll drop it. But yeah.
So speaking of burnt, so Sullivan Rock to Dwelling Up, I think previous to like the last year or so is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now not so much that North Bannister to Dwelling Up is half burnt.
That's really sad. I'm really glad I redid that one last year in July because I could see it was on the burn plan. I just wanted to.
So yeah, like Mount Wells, those hills through there, the Jarrah Forest.
Kimberling Hill is really beautiful.
Yeah, so that would have been up there. I think no love for Collie to Donnelly River.
I would say particularly Collie to Bailing Up is awful. Like you could put the photos in any order and they look the same.
No, I've got really good memories from that section. Really good, good flowers.
We'll drop it there. Cape to Cape, I think we can all agree that...
Every section has something really good about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stirling Range, again.
Every peak is
Mount
amazing.
Trio, Talyuberlup are the only ones that didn't get picked.
I was surprised Talyuberlup didn't get picked.
I was surprised as well.
Yeah.
I had to... It was a hard decision between Talyuberlup and Hassel, because that's what I was left with. I would have gone with Toolbrunup if I'd been first.
So I would have gone with Magog anyway, even though Bluff and Toolbrunup are off. I just like Magog so much better than the others.
Fair enough.
And that brings us to the end. And the winner will be decided by you guys. So if you're listening, log on to the socials. So we'll have comment sections on Facebook, Instagram. I'll try and get polls up. I think we'll do it in the comment sections. Just comment who you think has the best selection of trails throughout the categories. the prize will be bragging rights.
Oh, okay.
And maybe an invite back to do the Tasmania one that if we ever do this.
So you're assuming that'll be one of them, not us.
No. It'll be bragging rights.
What about a sponsored trip to Tasmania, and then I'll come back and talk about Tasmania?
Have you seen that we have no budget? We haven't changed our theme song since the start. So yeah, make sure you interact, vote. Be interesting to hear also your comments on which trails you would have selected. So go ahead and comment that, and yeah, just interact with the socials. Thanks, Steve and Bonny, for coming in. It's great to have you back. A bit of a reunion of sorts.
Indeed.
Hopefully there's not another pandemic between when you come back, Steve.
And thank you all for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode or any other episode of Real Trail Talk, then please rate us on whatever platform you're currently listening to us on. Ratings really help us to reach an audience, especially those who are looking to learn about the outdoors in Western Australia and Australia in general. If you had any questions or suggestions for future episodes, you can email us at realtrailtalk@gmail.com or contact us through our social media channels. Thanks again, and stay tuned for our next episode.